Hey guys, I'm Mega G Wolf and welcome to Legend of Grimrock. This game is available on Steam as well as their own website and GOG, and is quite frankly one of the most fascinating games I've played in a very long time. The game was actually recommended to me after I showed off Hack/Loot, and in a lot of ways I can see why, but this is an entirely different game. Now when you first start up a new game, you're going to be here with a few options. Namely which dungeon you want to play, and at the moment there is only the one. You've got difficulty and the option to make your own party. If you do not wish to make your own characters, you can be given a preset group where it just consists of the usual 2 fighters, mage and a rogue. But for those who are more into the D&D style changing of character sheets, you can get in and make your own characters. You can adjust all of their stats as to what skills and traits they have as well as what they look like to a point. So it gives some nice little customizable features that maybe later down the line will open up into something different. After you've made your magical team of 4, or used the standard preset, the game gives you a brief description on why the hell you're down there, and then leaves you to your own devices. It pretty much gives you the very basic of tutorials, and then says, have fun! And it's funny really, because it's very acceptable. Having not a lot of knowledge about how the game works and what you're going to expect kind of fits with the game's style. You have been thrown in a dungeon, and it is like one of those old dungeon crawlers where you literally have no clue what's going to be around that next corner. And although I can't speak for myself personally when it comes to things like this, I have been told that those who liked the old classic dungeon crawler style games are really going to like this, as there's a lot of references in here. Not as in well-known references from games, but actual tweaks to the gameplay that you'd only really know if you played those type of games. Ever since games like Dungeons of Dreadmore and Stone Soup, I've been very interested in dungeon crawlers and roguelikes. So it's just a shame I can't look to this game and see all the references to old style games that they put in there. Now when it actually comes to the gameplay, it's quite interesting how it all works. The game is real time, it isn't turn based, which is actually very different for me, as the games mentioned prior are all turn based, so I wondered how it would work. Instead it runs on a sort of tick system. For those who don't know what that means, it means, for example, you see an enemy in the distance, he'll take 1 step forward, stop, 1 step forward, stop, all in real time, but in a set pattern. It actually makes combat in this game very interesting, as since you know in a tick when the enemy is going to attack, you can act accordingly by moving out of the way or attacking to try and prevent it from killing you. It opens up a whole bunch of new strategies to the way you fight mobs. Another thing the game features are secrets. Oh man, a lot of secrets. This is where you're really going to have to pay attention even to these smaller corridors. Simple cracks in the rock could be secret buttons that open hidden doors. The game does teach you this, but it still makes it kind of awkward to be on edge at all times. Now, when it comes to the game's difficulty, well, this is kind of hard to explain really. The game is difficult, but you can make it harder by being idiotic. This game is really planning on you making the right move if you want to survive. Doing this is not a right move. For example, if there are pressure plates on the floor, don't go blindly stepping on them, they've probably trapped you in a room full of skeletons. Instead, use your brain. Think, will something trigger this switch and allow all the skeletons to escape while I plan my attack? So the game is difficult, but only if you let it be. In a lot of ways, you have to treat this game as you would a campaign in a D&D session. You have to do things, but with caution. Before you open that door, do you check for traps? Now, the last few things I want to mention are things like sounds. When it comes to sounds, this game is, well, very atmospheric. There isn't any music, and all you hear is cries and moans for help. And oh god! What the So much that occasionally it can give you a bit of a scare. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, and that scared the crap out of me. But the atmosphere really fits, as you can hear some pretty strange stuff going on in the actual dungeon as you explore, as well as being able to hear footsteps and so on of creatures and various undead or whatever you come across walking around the actual dungeon. It's hard to say whether music would actually add anything to the game. I think maybe a low drum beat or something while you're fighting an enemy would be cool, but I think that the absolute silence and the weird noises you hear actually add to the terror factor in a lot of ways. And as for graphically, on full, this game looks gorgeous. It is so detailed. Even though you're seeing a bunch of rocky walls and ceiling and floor, everything is so nicely rendered and the enemies look really menacing. Oh god! What the Yeah, you get a right close-up of some of them, I tell ya. Now, there is a bunch more I could be telling you about what it's like leveling up and what kind of items you expect to see, but I don't want to detract from the overall experience that this game intends you to have. Anyone who's a huge Dungeon Crawler fan will absolutely adore this game, and will know most of its gimmicks. But for those who are new to the genre, it still might be worth checking out, because it's still a lot of fun. But these have been my unprofessional thoughts on The Legend of Grimrock. And I'll see you next time on the next G-View. Later.